Hey guys, so the PvP season just ended. I believe it was 46, and there's like some maintenance going on for summons, shop maintenance, and PvP. I believe that was the 46th season there, so yeah, it's whatever. So by the way, we'll talk about it later in the video, but there's a lot of not great stuff going on in the game right now. The primary focus of this video is going to be talking about some of these news messages we have here. I mean, obviously there's maintenance, we know that's going on right now. It'll be over in 4-ish hours, so we'll be, hopefully some good stuff comes with that. But there's two main announcements that I want to show you guys. The first one is measures to be taken against dishonest players, and then intentional network disconnects and dishonest acts in PvP. So we'll take a look at this one first. So yeah, this is like, we haven't seen this in a while. As we previously announced, in order for our wonderful users to be able to more fairly play and enjoy Dragon Ball Legends, we enact strict penalties, such as disallowing use of the app against those who are determined to have broken the terms of use or who conduct dishonest activities. In addition, altering the app and the usage of unauthorized tools, such as mods, explicitly goes against our term of use. In the event that a user is determined to be currently using or has used these tools, we will remove their access to the game without notice. In the upcoming days, we'll be carrying out these measures for users who have violated the terms of use. As they may lead to a negative effect on other users' experience, please do not engage in, including at the offer or request of a third party, any of the following activities: buying, selling, giving, borrowing, or lending accounts, buying, selling, or trading in-game items through unofficial means, or requesting reimbursements or refunds for inapplicable reasons. In particular, purchasing in-game items through unofficial means by unlawful means of payment may be deemed to be a criminal act. We kindly ask that you use only official means of making purchases. So this specifically is, to me, more aimed at people who have been using what people deem quote-unquote, or what people call quote-unquote vendors. And what vendors are those are third parties who are able to I guess, sell you chrono crystals for a much cheaper price. There's multiple methods that they can utilize for this. I'm not super versed in like the way that they do this. I know some of them are illegal, like stealing credit card information, I think, is one method that a lot of them use. Some of them abuse like a refund system. So like they'll abuse the Google refund system because I think Google has like a policy where they are mandated to have to refund you a certain amount of money. So they abuse that. And it's just like a not very ethical way of really going about doing things, and people abuse that, and that's how they get the cheaper chrono crystals. And this message is basically tailored to those players who are abusing that, and telling them, hey, look, if you guys are actually doing this, then there's a good chance that we're going to catch on to you, and your account's going to get banned. And we're actually going to switch over to my other monitor real fast, because this is very similar to something we saw during the first anniversary. I mean, look, this is almost exactly a year ago at this point. Right when the first anniversary started, people were excited, they were logging in, and a lot of people, you guys probably know a lot of them, logged in to the game, and the first thing they saw was this: due to terms of service violation, this user data cannot be used. And the reasoning for that, so that means their account is banned, right? You retry and this just pops up again, or you click return to title and you look back to the title screen. So you were literally, your account was gone. You were unable to continue playing with your account. Now we have this message. This is the message that popped up last year, again, 5/24/2019. In order to ensure that Dragon Ball Legends is an enjoyable and fair playing environment for all users, we are taking strict measures against those who violate the terms of service or commit similarly illegitimate actions. These measures include banning accounts or device transfers. Prohibited actions such as buying and selling of accounts or misuse of chrono crystals can have a negative effect on other users' experiences. To prevent these issues from spreading, we will be dealing with users who violate the terms of service seriously. Thank you for your understanding, blah, 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 blah. So not as detailed as this year's announcement, and I don't really know if that really means that this year they're going to expand like the breadth of their bans or actions that they take on users. But to me, they specifically have in here a passage about mods and like users who are taking advantage of third-party applications and like altering the data of the game. So that's a big difference that we see between this year's message and last year's message. Let's switch back over to here. So to me, this is really sort of like a combination of both, you know, the whole third-party crystals thing, the vendors thing, and PvP, people who are like abusing certain cheating methods, I guess. And there's a few quote, I guess, infamous people who have been going around. People have been accused of cheating in PvP, and maybe people are like not losing rating points, stuff like that. And so a lot of people have accused those people of like using mods or third-party applications to make sure that they're in the top rankings. So looks like they're taking that seriously, and they're going to take a look at if they're actually there's proof of that, and then hopefully they take according action. So that's the first message. Second message. Now this is a little bit more in depth here. So this is titled about intentional network disconnections and dishonest acts in PvP. In PvP mode, it is forbidden to perform such acts as intentionally disconnecting from the network, taking advantage of issues in game, and employing other improper or dishonest means to obtain rating points. As this inhibits other users' enjoyment of the game, data regarding the number of disconnections, unfair play, and improper disconnections is being recorded. Furthermore, a policy of limiting access and revoking of rating points is being enacted. We have recently received reports that there may be users currently performing such dishonest acts for the rating battle rankings. That's exactly what I was just saying, by the way. The management team investigates and confirms each user's data for each season, but we acknowledge that we are not able to find all the dishonest players. We will do our best to review our investigation methods, establish new standards, and provide a fair ranking. So, just a little bit of background. I was talking to a few people who have connections to the actual development team, and I was saying, like, because they actually came to me and they were like, "Do you have any, suggestions that the ways that they can make this better?" Because a lot of people are up in arms about the whole cheating thing. There's been a lot of that going around. And I said, like, the best thing that they can do is just make sure that their detections, their methods of detecting cheaters and like efficiencies, effectiveness of actually like figuring out who's cheating and who's not. Just as long as that is the best that it can be, then they really can't do anything more. I mean, think about it. I'm sure the team is actually very small if they're working with the development team. Like they probably have a specific few people who are like actively like sweeping the ladders and looking for players who don't really look legitimate. So I don't know. To me, what they should be doing is kind of taking a note out of the Dokkan World Tournament page, which is after a World Tournament is over, they take like 2 days to make sure that the rankings are good, and then they finalize them. Whereas Legends takes, what is it, like 4 hours? 4 hours. And this is much more complicated game than Dokkan is. So they should honestly be taking like a full day to do this, in my opinion, just to make sure that everything is perfectly right. Now, that only affects really the top like 100 slots, 1,000 spots, that are, because that's where the biggest concentration of cheaters is going to be, in those like top positions. Like they're not looking for like the top 30,000 spots. Like they're only looking for like the top maybe 2,000, 3,000 spots. So as long as they're able to get their methods sharpened and like honed in on the actual people who they can confirm are cheating, and again, they should be able to find, ideally they would find 100% of the people who are cheating and ban them, right? That's what they should do. But unfortunately that's just not realistic. So my suggestion was just, make sure your methods of actually detecting who's cheating is like the best that it can possibly be. Okay, so the management team investigates and confirms each user's data for each season, but we acknowledge that we are not... Okay, I already read that already. We are aware that did I read that? No. We are aware that dishonest play has a negative effect on the Legends community as a whole, and so moving forward, we'll be implementing stronger penalties towards players who employ such dishonest means. And this was another point that I made, actually. I said, if you're caught cheating, like blatantly cheating, you need to be permanently banned. Like, they're like, okay, so because their old policy was, oh, we would just reset your RP, which is like, oh, if you reset somebody's RP, they're just going to cheat again next season. Next season, they're going to be doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, what does that accomplish? Just ban them the first time. They should be banned. They should have a no tolerance policy towards cheaters. That's my stance on that issue. We ask of all users kindly to bear in mind the following points before taking part. Yeah, it's just like the Wi-Fi thing, performance on unrecommended devices, blah 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 blah. So. Again, I don't know how big of a splash this is going to make or how big of an effect this is going to have on the actual game, and if we see people getting banned for this. But I will tell you guys right now, I just grinded for like around a little over 2 hours during the end of the season, because I was like, I want to say rank 160 170, 180. And I was like, okay, I have a chance to break the top 100. So I was grinding. I was winning most of my... I mean, obviously, you guys know my team is pretty ridiculously stacked. I was grinding, and I was, I won like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 matches in a row. And I'm doing pretty well. I mean, I'm fighting people who have significantly lower RP than me, so it's taking a long time to rank up. I'm getting like 10 RP a win. And I ran into a guy who decides there's like a glitch or like an exploit. I don't know how it's performed, but what happens is you load into the loading screen to get into the match, and the person who does the glitch or whatever, his bar doesn't load. And I was literally sitting on that loading screen for like 10 minutes. I have footage of it. I've recorded like 3 minutes of that, and it was just me sitting on the loading screen. My loading bar was full, and it said ready. And my opponent's bar was at 0%, and it was just sitting there for like 10 minutes. So I had to close because there was no way for me to actually get out of the match without closing the app. And obviously I ended up losing like 100 RP for that because it deemed that I was the one who disconnected the match, but it was whoever that was using the cheat. So I'm like, okay, that's like really annoying. I'm going to have to grind up even harder. And didn't have much time left at the time, and I was like, I might not actually make it now. So, I go back to grinding, and maybe 5 matches later, the same thing happens again. Not the same person, the same glitch or exploit or cheat or whatever you want to call it. It's me loading in. My bar is 100% loaded, says ready. My opponent's bar, 0. 10 minutes I waited. And I mean, I'm not going to sit there for an hour, however long it would take for that thing to go away. Honestly, it might never go away. I have no idea. So I ended up winning every single match that I played, every fair match that I played. And I lost those 2 matches, quote unquote lost, because there was nothing I could do. I was sitting in the loading screen for combined 20 minutes with nothing happening. So I mean, there's no way I'm getting top 100 now. I think I ended at like 140. Without that, I probably would have actually made top 100. So that's a difference between getting 200 multi-Z power and 300. So I'm going to miss out on the 300 multi-Z power because of that exploit. So this actually does affect players up, like, in the top 200, 300, 400 rankings, because they're trying to get up, the best rewards they could possibly get. So I have experience with this firsthand. Now, the last thing I want to show you quickly is there was a message last year, or not last year. This goes back a long. When is this? November 29th. Okay, so this isn't too terribly long ago. So this is what, 7 months ago. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but this is pretty much them talking about like, oh, we're gonna get more strict with our penalties and make sure that people are not cheating. Blah 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 blah. So the point that I want to make from showing you guys this is the fact that they've mentioned this before, and it honestly hasn't really done anything. So I'm a little bit skeptical that their message now is going to do anything. I think this is not going to sound good because it's not good. But what's probably going to end up happening is they're probably going to focus more so on the people who are abusing the chrono crystals more so than the people who are cheating in PvP, because that's what's happened historically. There's been cheaters throughout the entire game's lifespan, both in PvP and in terms of acquiring chrono crystals from third parties, and they've always prioritized taking care of this over this. So that's where we're at. I don't know what's going to happen with this. In a perfect world, they'll ban every single cheater, and they'll ban every single person who has participated in the vendors or third-party crystals. But that's not really realistic, I guess. But they should at least take it seriously, which it sounds like they are. But again, they always say these things, and most of the time it never ends up actually becoming anything worthwhile. So we will see. I am hopeful that something happens here, but yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for this one. I got Trunks' Zenkai Awakening coming out in just like 3.5 hours from now. So hope you guys have a good grind with that, and I will see you all in the next one.